This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we talked to a woman who the last 2 years of her life has been, well, chaotic would probably be a good way to put it. I'm excited to talk to her about what it means for her life, what it means for her power percentage, and so much more. She joins us now. Her name is Jackie. Hello, Jackie.
Hi there.
2 years has been chaotic. Has it all been bad chaos? Has there been any good chaos? Like what it is chaos, though?
Oh, there's been a lot of good chaos, too. I mean, I did get remarried to a man I love a lot.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting embarrassed. I hear the L word. All right, so
That was the good part.
Okay, so you got remarried, so that's the good part. Anything else good?
Well, I mean, I lost my dad 2 years ago, and I was an only child, and I did inherit a lot of money and a farm.
Sure.
And so that's been chaotic. Is learning how to deal with everything that's been passed on. But in the meantime, after that, I did end up getting divorced from my ex-husband, and so it's been a whirlwind.
Okay, so there's a lot going on. Let's dig into some of that life stuff and some financial stuff as well. To set the tone for this, we calculated your power percentage here on the back end. And your power percentage is the metric we use to understand how efficient a person is being with their work income. Well, as it turns out, Jackie, you're living on passive income from the farm at this point in time, right?
Correct.
And you personally don't have any work income right now.
Correct.
Okay, so that puts you at a sort of an awkward 0% power percentage, but don't freak out or feel weird or feel bad because you essentially have the power percentage of a retired person because you're not deriving your income from active work.
Right.
So now your husband, you're remarried. Do you have combined finances? Are they separate?
Pretty much I'm kind of keeping them separate right now. He's just kind of started back in after having an illness, and so I'm kind of keeping it separate.
Okay.
It's not a lot. It's kind of a part-time, so.
And so, and you're 56 years old. Did you work outside of the home at any point in time in your previous marriage or anything like that?
I was a stay-at-home mom for 34 years.
Okay, so now, and I ask this because I'm just trying to understand how you have dealt with the expenses of your household. So you went with sort of a one-income household in which you were the stay-at-home partner to the part of another household, but you are the earning partner from the passive income source, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot moving here. So how much does it take you to live? Like, no one knows who you are because we gave you a fake name. How much do you earn in passive income every month?
I don't earn it in a month. I earn it annually. Like twice a year, I get paid a check for $42,000. So I earn it like in March, and then I earn it in December. So I have to learn to put it away and budget it, and figure it out that way.
Okay, so that's $84,000 total. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you have tax obligations on this?
Oh, yeah. See, out of that, I don't get to keep all of it because I have to do property taxes on a farm. I have to do insurance on a farm. Of course, I have my quarterly income taxes I have to do. So when you all come down after that part, I mean, I'm left with about $60,000, and then I've got to pay all the bills.
Okay, so your household is supported, essentially, in your priorities on $60,000 of take-home pay, or about $5,000 a month. Does that sound accurate?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's involved with that? Do you live on the farm now, or do you have your own house? Like, how's that work?
No, I do not live on the farm. It's rented out. It's 1,200 miles away. So I have I know who's farming it, and they're my renters, and I've known them for 30 years. So.
Oh, wow. Well, that's got to be helpful with the transition and everything.
That's very helpful. Very helpful.
So do you have a mortgage then on your own?
I do not have a mortgage. I own my home.
So can I say you have very few expenses, or am I jumping the gun? Do you have a lot of expenses?
I have a lot of expenses.
Okay, and what are they primarily? I understand from our notes here, you're currently assisting a young adult child And so to the tune of about $1,800 a month.
Yes, it's short term, but that would be my youngest child, and she's moved out and moved on, and I'm kind of helping her out with the first 6 months.
Okay.
So it's a short term thing.
All right. The first 6 months, I love this, Jackie, because then we have you're on for 6 months, and then you got to figure it out. What month are we on right now?
Yeah, we're on month 2.
Okay. I was waiting for you to go. We are on month 19. That's where I thought we were going with this.
I'm worried. I'm worried that it's going to be going through 12, the whole lease of the whole year.
So does it seem like and she's a daughter? Is that right? I don't want to.
Yeah.
Does does it look like she has a plan to wean herself off of your generosity yet?
We're just getting started. We just kind of left the nest.
Okay.
After trying college, after trying some things, and that didn't work out, so we left the nest, moved away, got an apartment, going to get a job. So it's kind of like an experiment, I guess.
Sure. And part of your financial situation, you got an inheritance to the tune of about $600,000. Is that right?
Well, that and including the farm.
Okay. So
that is the money that I got, and then I have a farm, and that's worth probably about $2 million.
Okay. So, but yeah. So let's lay this out. You have a $2 million farm, but it is also your income source, right?
Right. That's why it's not being sold. That's where I make the money to live on.
And by the way, that's returning about 4.2%. If it's valued at $2 million, it is actively paying you $84,000 a year. That is 4.2%. Just so you know. So then you also have another $600,000 in assets that isn't tied to anything. Is that right? It's just money.
That's in my brokerage account.
Okay. And what does have you touched that money? Are you doing any? Do you
No.
have plans for it?
The plans are to keep it there, and I listened to the podcast. Let it grow. Let it grow. Just don't look at it. Leave it in there. Vanguard, Fidelity. Let it grow.
Okay, so here's the question that I've been wanting to ask since Nicole brought your situation to my attention. Do you consider yourself retired?
Yes.
Yes. Now, do you say that? Because this strikes me as a situation that you won't say that publicly, but it is the truth.
It is the truth. I consider myself retired, but just because you're retired doesn't mean if something came up that I wanted to get a small part-time job, I have the option.
But but you will consider yourself to be financially independent, like no need for active income.
No need. I need my passive income.
Right.
That's what I need.
Okay. Now, the question that is not fun to ask and not fun to be asked, how does your new marriage play into any of this? It sounds like it doesn't, and will it stay that way?
For right now, we're just new. It's new, so it doesn't really, he's making enough to have extras and stuff, and we bring in enough to pay all the bills. Our house is paid for. It's just sometimes I feel like there's things we want extra, like vacations and things like that I want to make sure that I don't want to touch anything that's saved for it. I want to save up for it. I don't believe in debt. I don't want to be in debt at all.
Sure.
But I want to have extra money, and I just see it going out so quickly. When you write it all down, health insurance, crazy.
Yeah, so I got to think. So you're paying your daughter $1,800 a month. Health insurance, I believe, what, $1,200 a month or so for you all?
It's right now. It's that. It's not quite that, but by the time you pay doctors, if you have to go and we go, it's going to add up to that, or the deductibles are high.
What did you do with the $1,800 a month 3 months ago before you were giving it to your daughter?
Well, I didn't really. I do have some savings. I did put it on that I had some in savings too. So I've been kind of taking the $1,800 out of that. I did write down I had $60 or $60,000 in savings.
Okay, so you had 60.
I've kind of been bopping it out of there. so that that's kind of separate. I kind of keep it separate. Because like I said, it's supposed to be a 6-month deal.
Interesting. Okay, so you essentially, I don't want to do the math. It's basically what, $12,000, $10,000 to $12,000 for a 6-month project of get out of the nest.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, so that $60,000 is coming out of saving, or pardon me, the $10,000 is coming out of the $60,000 savings, but that $5,000 a month of net monthly income, that still feels like it's being stretched too thin, and you feel like you could potentially be headed towards a point in which you might be going backwards with that?
Sometimes, but you have to understand the last 2 years have been really, really expensive. Mm-hmm. Just going through all the things you have to go through when you get an inheritance. You have lawyers, you have an estate. You just, there's a lot of expenses involved that it seems like perhaps I might be getting on a better track when it all calms down. But the last couple of years, the divorce. I went through a divorce, and that's been kind of messy. So, the expenses have been high because of things. And I also live far away from where I lived before, so the traveling, so I'm hopeful that it'll get better, and I'm trying to get on a budget, trying to get my husband on board on a budget. I've written it down. You know how you write it down in hope.
Yeah. Sounds like me and my weight loss strategy, actually. Here's how your situation strikes me. It's a situation that's good. It's fine. It's sustainable. Like, it's one of those things that you don't want to hear it, but as long as you don't mess this up, it's going to be great, right?
Right.
And it's that weird pressure of knowing that if it fails, sure, there's life and circumstance and other things. It's because it was botched, right? And that's not a fun feeling, is it?
No.
But that's where we're at. I mean, but the good news is, the flip side of that, Jackie, is it's on you. Like, it's in your hands. And I don't know, sometimes we feel like we don't trust ourselves with money or food and fitness or whatever it is. But I would say in this case, like, it's yours to lose. Like, you got it. You just have to make it to these different weird little stages. So did you get any retirement assets in your divorce or not?
I didn't ask for them. I let him keep those because at the same time I was getting an inheritance. So I let him keep his 401k. So he kept it, and I didn't touch it. And so the asset I got was the house. So I'm working on that one now, too. So the house is going to be sold, and that will be extra money that will go into, that I'll get eventually.
And then at 62, you'll be eligible for Social Security. You'll be getting a spousal benefit. And because you remarried, you would file and get essentially the spousal benefit that is derived from your current husband's Social Security amount. And by the way, that doesn't negatively hurt him. I mean, that's just the functionality of it on the back end. Had you not remarried, you would have gotten a spousal benefit based on your first husband's
correct
amount. So, to make it to 62 is to increase your income a little bit. Will the farm income ever increase, or will it stay about what it's at?
I think it's doing very well right now. So I have a feeling it's going to stay pretty current. It's a small town, but that is very good. I feel that that's very good for the farm. That I'm making a good passive income. Very good.
Do you think you'll ever sell the farm, or is it not in your plans right now?
Not in my plans at all. I plan to pass it on to my kids. I have 3 children.
And so I would agree with I would quickly agree with your assessment of that. But I would also say, as you've just learned, because you told us about 3 minutes ago, the complexities of getting an inheritance and the legal fees and everything else, have you began to get the legal affairs in order that passes it to your children in the event of your passing?
Yes, I've already done that. I've already got a will. That's taken care of. And I don't plan on doing a trust. I plan on doing it the other way. There's other ways to do it. So I did have a will and health directive, so that's good.
So, yeah, I mean, strange question here, but how drastically different was your financial life 3 years ago?
My life 3 years ago, drastically different. Drastically different. I was married to my ex. He was farming the farm. We lived in a small town. It was drastically different.
Yeah.
Did not have the money that I have now. I mean, have control of it. I didn't have that at all. So drastically different.
Do you view this as a second chance, or how do you get your head around your current reality?
It's definitely a second chance, and I'm totally a second chance.
Yeah, because it sounds like there weren't a lot of assets. Well, and there may have been assets in your divorce, but you didn't access them because you knew you would be getting the inheritance.
Correct. That's why I didn't bother with it, because this was all for, like I said, it didn't belong to him. It belonged to me. It was my father left it to me.
Excellent. What else scares you about your situation? Because to me, like, the only scary part is, well, the inexperience of being in a situation like this, which then could lead to the money going away, which is inherently scary. But is there anything else scary about this?
Some of the, I don't know, the scariest thing sometimes is just not having enough time to do the things that I want to do, and then knowing that I have enough money to do it. Okay, so like travel, or you want to know that you save up, because like I said, I'm not going to go into debt to do any, but time, I'm 56.
Right.
You want to do things while you can. My husband works. He only has so much time. We have summers off for the type of job he has. So, we have to plan now, but yet we have to plan financially too. If I want to live off the passive income and not touch anything else, because that's really for retirement. I mean, if I'm 56 and I save that $600,000 and let it grow, it could grow to quite a bit. Mm-hmm. If I can still earn passive at the same time, we'll be able to do more in probably 10 years.
Yeah, that's why I think sort of the lever, the tell, the indicator that things may go off track, if it gets this way, is if you see that $60,000 savings continue to go down. That would be, sure, it's there. It's there to protect your passive income, and it's there to protect the $600,000. But ultimately, that to me is we're doing something wrong because that amount is going down, which is to say, a long-winded way of saying, I think if you want to vacation next summer because that's the availability of your husband's schedule, then I would put a plan in place over the next 8 months or so to systematically save whatever amount of money you need to save. And then the question becomes, can you do that? And can you do it while also cutting your daughter off 4 months from now?
Right.
They seem independent. They seem like they have nothing to do with each other. But I think it's more of this idea of, and this is not criticism, you're acting like you have $2.66 million. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the decision to assist her, not a bad decision. The insistence that it doesn't go past 6 months, arguably could be considered a bad decision.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think it'll go past 6 months?
I do. I got a feeling it will.
But see, can't we, like, we have 4 months to prevent that now, don't we?
Well, if she gets a job, it would be great.
What would happen if you didn't pay her $1,800 a month in month 7 and she didn't have a job? What would happen?
Well, I'm liable. I count on that. I'm liable for that apartment. So, I mean, I have to make sure that it's going to go a year for sure. So when you sign your name on something, you're liable. So I know that. I knew it going in, but I'm only hopeful that I won't have to worry about that. So if I do, then I will pay it, because I'm not going to,
Sure.
I'm liable.
Can I assume
I'm the grantor.
Can I assume that the lease is not for $1,800? It's for something, and then the rest is living expenses?
No, it's $1,800 a month on the lease.
Wow. Is she living in a large city or the nicest apartment in a small city?
A large city.
Okay. Well, there's only one of two ways that goes, right? She has the nicest apartment in a 10 to 20th sized city in this world, or a terrible apartment in one of the top 10 cities in this country.
No, she lives in a very nice large city in a nice area.
Okay. Yeah. So I get. Yeah.
That was a lot me too. I'm I wanted her in a nice area because I wanted to know that she's safe. She's coming out of the house. I don't know. That's me too.
Sure.
So I'm just as much on that.
So that would be my only concern. As I look at your situation, it's like, well, how do we know this is going to go right or wrong? That's the one that you have the most control over, that feels like you have the least amount of control over. But it's the
Correct.
it's the willingness to cut a person off who you love at the right time, which is easier said than done. It's easy for me to say. I'm not even in front of you right now, right?
Right. I have to also think. Eventually, I do think that will it will work its way out. I think that I'm confident that she will get a job, and maybe she won't be living as high the next year. She'll find her place, and then it won't be as expensive for her the next year. But the first year is kind of on me.
That would be-
basically, and just in case, it's kind of on me.
Yeah, and that would be a decent outcome. A decent outcome would be she figures out that standard of living is too high for her and she wants to move on from that. I think that'd be a win for you, right?
Right.
We win for
and
her.
the other thing is some of the out of the money that I do have during the month. When I put it down on paper, I could basically, with my husband now working, I can basically get that $1,800 out of our monthlies. So it doesn't have to come out of the savings. The way I'm seeing it right now, it basically could come out of there. And so when that is over, then I would have that much more that I would be saving for a cruise or something, because we do want to travel.
See, all right. See, that's what I'd like to really get at, is to the point where it matches up with you no longer supporting your daughter, and then those funds from your husband's work income are able to create the lifestyle that you two want together. Like, that is a
Right.
scenario that you and I both want. Everyone involved wants that, actually.
That's right.
Interesting. Well, this is good. Again, you're because of the nature of you being financially independent / retired, you're not going to have a power percentage. Your power percentage is 0. We usually like to see people around the 20% range is good. 21% or so is good. But again, when you're a retired person, you just don't have one, because you're not going to resave unsaved money, because the process of retirement is unsaving. You're not going to resave what is unsaved. You know what I mean, right? So you're not going to have a power percentage.
Right. But one thing, I have a question.
Sure.
My husband is now working, so there was something about that that you could put away money for tax reasons. You could put away money in like is it an IRA or something? There's a Roth IRA.
Sure.
You could open one up and put money into something like that and have a tax benefit from it. Is there any tax benefit for me, or would that not even be something that I would even need to consider?
Well, do you guys file jointly, or are you going to file separately?
We're going to file jointly because it's a big savings this time.
If he opened a traditional IRA, or you or he had a traditional IRA, then you would be able to I couldn't talk for a second. You'd be able to deduct those contributions from your taxable income.
Right.
If you had a Roth IRA, you cannot deduct those from your taxable income. There would not be a current tax benefit to do that.
And then when you take them out, though, you have to start taking them out at what age?
A Roth, you don't ever have to take them out. You can leave them there. With a traditional platform, you have to remove at 70 and a half. You start to begin taking required minimum distributions at 70 and a half. But you have access to them at 59 and a half.
So that might be a good thing to help with the taxes, because my taxes are pretty high.
Yeah, if that's the case, then
to me they are.
Yeah, I would absolutely consider traditional IRAs to lower your taxable income.
Right. And isn't it that because he's working, I can qualify under him?
Yeah, there is spousal benefits there. You can put $6,500 each, assuming he's older than 50 as well.
Yes.
But if he's not, maybe this becomes the title of the show. Maybe he's like 31, and now this is just taking a magical turn. But he's not.
No, we're the same age.
Well, that got boring. For a second, I got really excited for someone. I don't know. But anyway, you can each put $6,500 a year away.
Okay. And so that could be a type of savings vehicle, especially for him, I think, too.
Absolutely. And you'll want to talk to your accountant. Obviously, you've been dealing with accountants with all of this rigmarole going on around with the estate, so you'll want to talk to them about that as well.
Yes, I have 2 lawyers right now, so
nice.
I want to get that over. I want to get that over with and get on with things.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it. We would love to hear an update. Let's see, 4 months from now, we're recording this September. What's that? September, October, November, December. By the first of the year, we'd love to hear that your daughter found a job and she's paying for it for herself. You'll email us, won't you?
I will. That would be great news, wouldn't it?
I know. Well, speaking of children leaving the nest, I'm off to, as soon as we get off the air here, I'm going to pick up Ted, my 6-year-old, from the bus stop. So see, time flies. Soon enough, I'll be renting an apartment in a large city for him, and then I'll have to update you on his employment status.
There you go.
All right. Well, Jackie, thank you so much, and best of luck to you.
Thank you, Pete.
All right. That's it for this week's show. You know what? This is, again, that's a good situation. It's a good situation that there's a risk. There's a risk that if she hangs on too long, like things like the supporting the adult child, that $60,000 starts to dwindle. When that starts to dwindle, then you have to look at the $600,000, and then that starts to dwindle. If she can prevent that, she's fine. But if she gets down this path where things start to dwindle, she's really young. She's 56. She's going to be alive for at least 3 more decades. That story is yet to be written. There's a lot left to go. If you want to be on the show, go to PeteThePlanner.com, apply to be on the podcast. We'll give you your power percentage. I'll tell you how to fix that power percentage. But if you're retired, your power percentage is going to be 0 in most cases. That's it for this week's show. We'll see you next time. I'm Pete the Planner.